See if it actually goes live. Okay, I think we're recording. This is going to be the official first session of Transdimensional Salvage Incorporated. For those that haven't really watched any of these before, it's basically a bunch of freaky characters that hurl themselves into the unknown every week, not knowing where they're going or where, what's going to happen to them, what strange things are going to mutate their flesh, and what they're going to bring back, if anything. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. We have some new characters, new players. It's kind of an episodic campaign, so feel free to just tune in every week and whatever. Enjoy yourself if you enjoy that sort of thing. But how about we start over here on the far side. Tony, you want to introduce yourself and maybe your character real quick?
I want to be on the far side.
I'm Tony. I'll be playing a one-eyed green rabbit man named Rabid Squeeze Sharpooze.
Rabid Squeeze. Yes, and the names are pretty silly if you guys are tuning in for that. So Rabid Squeeze, yeah, he's sort of like this beast man, rabbit guy with one eye. And you said he was green?
Yeah, Bucky O'Hare's green. He can be green.
Nice. He's a stylish one-eyed rabbit.
Yeah.
How about you, Tim? What are you playing? I know, but for the folks at home,
this unit is designated as Sletex, known as Clapface White Barble. My position and role in this unit is to extract technological advancements from other civilizations and return them for economic advancement. I do not care about the lives of these creatures that have been installed in my unit.
Nice. And last but not least, we got Phil over here. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Phil, and I'll be playing Gamarot Tathul, a.k.a. Slug. He's a goat man. He's a pretty smart goat man, too. But is he crazy? Or is he just that damn smart? We'll soon find out.
Sounds good. Gamarot. Nice. Okay, so you have come out of your cocoons or vats of slime, wherever you happen to spend your time when you're not traveling the unknown, relaxing in your hovels of claustrophobicness, where they store you between missions. So you've come out of your this isolation, these little tiny cells that they store you in, these paid for by the government establishments where you find yourself spending a lot of time. And yes, you stumbled out into the lovely, dirty warehouse. There's all kinds of stains on the floor of previous missions that have come back or taken off. You have the familiar clone of the CEO. Today he's wearing a nice fine suit. He's like a chartreuse tie. He has a hat on today for some reason. We're not really sure why, but it's sort of pulled down over his eyes. He's looking at his little handheld device, and he hasn't really paid attention to who's stumbled into the warehouse today. He doesn't really seem to pay much mind to who shows up for work. It's really whoever shows up, he sends them off and prepares to catalog what they bring back. So he's standing there, just not even paying attention to you. That's sort of in the center of the warehouse. It's just like metal sheeting and like there's grime and just it almost looks like they just slide everything to the walls whenever a mission is done to prepare for the next one. They must not pay for cleaning. You're not really sure why that is, but yes, you three are standing there and he is not looking at you.
Where to today, boss?
Oh, well, of course, that is left to the fates to decide. I'm not really sure where you're going to go. You're new here, aren't you? Is this your first travel off into the unexpected, unknown regions of space and time?
Yep.
Well, these other ones will have to show you how this all works. Yeah, there's kind of like the slime stuff that covers you. You'll figure it out. Just try to breathe. make it so you can breathe. And there's been new guidelines posted because apparently some of the last missions that we've sent out haven't really come back. So yes, there's some new safety precautions we're doing. There's all the government organizations are giving us a lot of hard time about this. But yes, there's some suits over there against the wall. They're supposed to be there. I don't know where they are. Maybe next time. Next time we'll get you the safety suits. You'll be all right this time. Just when you come back, we'll have a little lecture about how to wear them and all. But never mind. No, forget about that. You'll be perfectly fine. Yes, assemble yourselves. Be ready. Do your little chants and hold hands and all that good stuff. And I'll be here to catalog your success when you come back. Any questions?
This unit does not have hands to hold.
Oh yes, my apologies. My apologies. I'm sorry if I have offended you in any way. I know my last predecessor often did that. I'm going to try to undo those mistakes from the past. So I apologize. Appendages, is that an appropriate word?
That is satisfactory.
I see. So,
Clopping forward, Gamarot will look forward with his purple spectacles and gleaming at him. He'll say, "Will this also be covered in the species seminar?"
Yes. Your hooves, or I think that those are hooves. I think is that right? Is that what I'm seeing? Whatever you have at the end of your limbs, I won't shake them personally, but there are other people we can pay to do that if you want someone to hold your appendages in a happy welcome back fashion. I'll get right on that. I've got some interns in the back. I can crank them puppies out, and when you get back, you'll have a warm welcome. The company is trying to put a new step forward. In light of the recent problems with the media. It's all lies. But thank you for showing up. And but besides the point, let's just talk about that. Let's focus on the mission at hand. So get out of here, and when you come back, I'll talk to you then.
Affirmative.
So I hover over towards where the others are at, and one of my tentacles reaches up onto my back of my squid-like body, and he pulls out this chain sword, and he's holding it in one of his tentacles, and he wraps his tentacles around the other two, and he just starts, this bubbling, chanting sound starts coming out. All these bubbles starts coming out of his mouth as he's just making this sound.
And you'll see the associate of the company starts pointing to the bunny man. He points over to the squid, and it does the same thing to the goat man. It's just like. So prepare to lurch into the unknown. Close your eyes, mumble or mutter, or stamp your appendages, whatever works. I'm forgetting a step. My bad. The injections. See, I'm new at this. My predecessor, he decomposed overnight, so they had to spawn me out, and I really don't know what I'm doing yet. Yes, I think there's a kid here. Right here. Yeah. Now, where does the shot go? Does this go in your orifice? Is it one of your orifices, maybe? An eye, a nose? Where does the shot go? And he starts getting real close to you with this needle.
Your previous version insisted on injecting it in my eye.
Oh, well, I think that was just because he was a kind of a sadistic jerk. I don't really think it matters where it goes. At least that's what I read in my my download. Yes. So where would you like this? Any place that you would prefer.
I extend my tentacle out towards him.
He shoots in this liquid.
Gamarot will extend out his arm, hairy as it is.
Yeah, your skin looks quite thick, but I believe the needle will pierce it.
Yeah.
There's this sort of burning sensation that travels up your arm and your tentacle. Yes, you. Can you hop over here? Yeah, where would you like it? Maybe in your ear, a thigh, a leg, your foot. Whatever is more comfortable. I'm here to please.
Rabbit hops over to him in like one big hop, and opens his mouth and lifts up his tongue.
Oh, that's interesting. Hold on, let me put on a glove. Okay, yeah, I don't want to get any of your. Well, that's besides the point. Here you go. And he shoots it underneath your tongue, and your tongue just like it almost feels like it like catches fire. It's like really burning, but that sensation sort of subsides. Yes. So huddle around, kumbaya and all that. Close your eyes. Whatever process works for you. Yeah. The squid is almost out of here, I believe. So get close. Hold a tentacle or whatever, and yeah, do your thing, and I'll be here when you get back.
So Rabbit starts like tapping his foot like rhythmically. Closes his one eye.
Gamorot will sort of like have his hands together, though he will grab a tentacle and as well, and kind of just kind of hold it close to him, as if he's like kneeling over in prayer, and silently kind of chants to himself a little bit.
So the world just sort of lurches downward this time. It feels as if like like you're in an elevator and the cables are just snapped. You have this feeling of weightlessness, of floating, of falling. Your eyes seem to just be spasming left and right within your eyelids. Your heartbeat increases. You feel this sensation of hunger and then being completely satiated. You're being tossed and turned. You're feeling all sorts of strange things. Your skin has this like prickling sensation all over you from your toes up to the tips of your ears, and then you're hurled downward. You feel yourself landing roughly on sharp, metallic, possibly things. There's this translucent view of the world as this layer of slime covers you from head to tail, or toe, or tip of your fluffy tail. But there's this light that's coming through, but it has a sort of blue haze, and it's hard to tell, but you just see like piles of things around you.
As soon as I gather my wits about me, I rev my chainsword, and I just slice through the membrane of the pod that I'm in.
As you do that, you see just piles of refuse and broken things, old things, rotten organic matter. It just seems like you're in some sort of garbage depository. There, in the sky, you see thick, fluffy clouds, and the sun seems to be just filtering down through them. You don't really see anything else other than just piles and piles of garbage as far as the eye can see in every direction. There's no real sound at the moment. It's actually pretty eerily quiet, except for the sound of the rustling garbage beneath you, metal clanking on metal, scraping, and just that smell of rotten organic matter.
Rabbit takes like a big breath in and he says, "So we bring him back lunch?"
Turning his head from side to side, Gamorot kind of looks around, and as he does, Blech. No, we should be bringing back better goodies. But perhaps this will do. And reaches down and grabs some of the refuse and kind of crinkles it in his hoof-like hands, and then flings it off to the side. It is of uninterest. It isn't raw, undiscovered technology. But
it does look tasty. And Rabbit Squeeze grabs a big pile of just chunks of our calls and whatever else is there and just takes a big bite. And
it tastes surprisingly good, actually. It has that undertaste of rottenness that you're accustomed to. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but you savor the smells in your nose. that sort of ancient rottenness. You know, that it's almost too bad, but you know, it's just right. You know, it tickles a certain taste buds on your tongue that you know aren't always tickled by certain foods. It's good.
He's like, gourmet delight.
You hear some clanging in the distance, maybe over a couple hills of refuse towards the. Well, you're not really sure what's north or south, but that way. There's some sort of commotion maybe going on. You're not really sure, but as you look around, it really looks like almost like empty bottles, cans, bowls that have jagged edges around the outside of it, wire in piles. It's a very strange mixture of all kinds of different things.
So when I hear all this clanking noise, I turn my chain sword off and I put it back in its holster, and my two tentacles reach around and pull out a bolt pistol in each hand, and I start floating up into the air, investigating what the sound is. Sonic emanations come from this direction. We must investigate.
Rabbit slaps a clip in his auto gun, checks the mechanics of it, and heads off following Clapface.
Slug will go ahead and check the bolt pistol that he's got, and making sure that's all intact. He will follow in tow, though he will keep pace, but he'll be a little bit slower, a little bit more cautious about it, hopping from each little bit of refuse to the other, almost like a mountain goat.
You'll notice that your associates seem to have a little drop of blood, maybe coming out of the corner of their eye, maybe the bottom of their nose. It's very subtle at first.
You've got a little something there, Slug. And he kind of...
He'll take his hand and kind of just...
You are right. It seems that perhaps the dimensional transport was a little bit rough upon my body.
The clanging continues. The hovering squid, gets high enough to possibly see it, maybe, but it's a little hidden behind piles. There's movement. You can kind of see it. It's just on the other side of a pile, so you can get just enough to get like a little glimpse. It seems like there's some small humanoid-esque shapes. They're wearing suits of some sort with like globe helmets. You kind of see the top of the helmet surrounded by metal. There's a glint off the top of their helmets. But those on the ground cannot see this yet.
How many are there?
There are 3.
3? Okay, so I float back down towards the others.
We are not alone.
3 in this general direction.
Confirmation acknowledged. Should we make contact?
Yes, and I start dreading my pistols to be fired.
How high is the garbage heap that's like obstructing our view?
Currently it is. They're probably like 15 to 20 feet tall piles of refuse. It's almost like sand dunes. If you're in a desert, they're just all over the place as far as the eye can see. It's definitely not flat by any stretch of the imagination. It almost looks like something was flying and dumped a pile of stuff, and then came back and dumped another pile of stuff. That's kind of what you think of. It doesn't look like the piles move by wind or any sort of natural current or anything. It seems like there's some sort of order to the piles.
Do they look safe to climb?
Not sure. They look like they might fall down, or bits of pieces of metal or something might fall on top of you, but there's paths between that are safer.
What do you say, Clap? This isn't your first rodeo.
I do not need to climb over tops of refuse. That is your prerogative.
What about these others? Do they appear dangerous?
They have not noticed our our location at this time.
Ooh, then that means we have tactical advantage.
How about everybody roll me a d6, and you can add your intelligence bonus if you have it. So if you have like a +1, you can succeed on a 1 and 2. Everybody succeeds on a 1.
I have failed with a 6.
Oh, I did not succeed.
I rolled a 1, a natural 1.
As the hovering squid is, floating along and waiting for his bipedal organisms to follow, you notice that there are what look to be bodies of previous employees of the company here. You'll see like a foot, like a boot hanging out of one pile. You'll see a familiar-looking las gun company, the emblem on the bottom of the handle sticking out, and maybe a finger touching onto the trigger. It seems like there are bodies that are just sort of littered and sort of almost covered up. There's just little hints of just bits of arm or maybe an elbow sticking out of that pile and over there. It's almost like you start looking around and you start seeing more and more of these little tokens of previous employees that have come here.
I kind of nudge Slug. I don't like the looks of this at all. And kind of like bring my auto gun up.
It seems that others have come here and failed as well. He'll walk over towards the corpse a bit. He'll kind of pull on it and kind of smell and go, that's what I thought. That's where most of the rot was coming from.
As you pull, the leg comes out. It falls off the bone. It looks like it's been flayed and inspected. There's slash marks from some sharp implement, and it's sort of just hanging there as you're holding on to like the boot. And if you would like flap it around, it would just go everywhere. It's just this disgusting mess of a leg.
We have been deposited in a highly dangerous location. Assume that all contacts here are hostile.
Just on the other side of this hill, you say?
Affirmative.
I'll be no one's lucky charm. And he'll hop up to, he has a 15-foot vertical hop. So if that'll take me near the top of like the pile that's separating us from these contacts, and just try to kick a whole bunch of stuff down that way to try to customize and surprise him.
Alright, so you fly up into the air and come land sort of roughly on top of this pile. Some cans and things sort of scatter down below you, sort of tumbling down the pile. But yeah, you see these suits. They're sort of silvery blue with these like glass-like or translucent hoods, helmets. Inside there seems like there's this liquid or goo, and there's these glowing squares like just floating in the goo itself inside the helmet area. But yeah, they have a humanoid shape to them. They have 3 sort of arm sections that come off of the torso and 2 legs. They seem to be just going and just moving pieces of refuse, bending down. They don't appear to have eyes, but there's these weird sort of light sensors around the top of their helmet that spin around and lock in place, and then this little light comes out and sort of looks like it's maybe analyzing or viewing whatever's in front of them. But that's what they're doing. They don't seem to have paid any attention to you so far.
Okay, I'll just keep the gun trained on them.
I'm sorry. What was that, Tony?
I'm gonna keep the auto gun just kind of trained on them, looking down and waiting for them to make a move.
Slug will continue his ascent upwards, and when he gets up there, he will kind of be ducking down the pile a little bit with his horns just sticking up with his ears perked as he looks over.
Do you see the same thing? This weird little light comes out every once in a while. It seems like it's looking at a particular piece of junk. You'll see that one picks up like a boot, like sort of like what you did. So this one is empty, and it cracks open the top with one of its arms and dumps out the decayed matter and flesh into the slime, and it's sort of floating on top. And then he seals the cap back and it spins in place and locks. You hear a click.
His fingers begin like dancing onto the garbage that he's holding on to as he's looking. As he does, he'll look over to the others. It appears we have a new organism to analyze.
As soon as I see the others have gotten to a vantage point on top of the heaps, Clapface just flies up over the edge and just starts firing down at him with both of his pistols.
All right, make some attack rolls. The armor class you're going to need to hit is, we'll say 6. So just tell me if you are successful or not. You have a little chart down at the bottom of your character sheet.
12 and 6.
So he's firing away. This might startle the Beastmen because they probably didn't see that coming. But what is your reaction as the pistols start to flare into life?
Slug's gonna like duck back down a little bit because he was not expecting that right off the bat, and he'll kind of just peek around to the side, and if Clapface's assault turns out to be incredibly provocative, he will join in upon this massacre.
Rabbit just screams, "Let's croak us some toads," and opens fire.
All right, same thing. Armor class 6. Just tell me how many are successful.
Right. 2 shots around his 2 attacks. I'll
Sure.
take it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that works. So blam.
One hit with an 18.
Okay.
Let me just mark down my.
Go ahead and roll your damage and all that. Tim, you too. How much you get?
1 damage.
So yeah, this is going on, and they weren't even. Well, that's the thing. They don't seem to be able to look. Maybe the lights that come out of their helmets or eyes or sensors of some sort. You're not sure. But as the fire starts to rain down upon them, the one shot cracks and there's all this like steam that comes out of the back of one of the helmets. That's the one that Rabbit Squeeze hit. And how about the other 2 from Tim there?
I did a total of 9 damage.
Oh, okay. All right, so his shots go blasting straight down to the top of the helmet. This green slime just explodes outwards, and you hear this sort of hissing sound as the junk around them starts to dissolve in various ways. The suit, the arms start to flail. The hands actually fly off, and all more of this goop starts flying everywhere. It's thrashing, and there's this weird sort of distorted, repetitive sound, as though like some sort of technology is malfunctioning, as it sort of starts to go towards one of the piles, and it just starts slamming its head over and over again into the pile. Pieces of junk are like collecting in the top and then getting hurled backwards as the head keeps going forwards and backwards, and then it sort of just lays there and twitches. The one with the cracked helmet, it sort of spins up, and this like yellowish light illuminates the top of the pile. At least it's sort of an intense sort of light. It's almost not. It kind of reminds you of like a red laser light, except it's a yellow sort of hint to it. The other one still doesn't seem to pay attention to what you're doing. It has found an arm, and it spins off its top and just sinks the arm down into the goop and locks his helmet and spins it. So how about somebody roll a d6? Higher is better. And we'll see what you guys get. Who feels like rolling?
I'll roll.
Okay.
I got a 2.
All right, I got a 6. So the one that's not paying attention continues to do what it's doing. The one with the cracked helmet, however, that yellow light seems to sort of undulate in color. Different colors start to come out of it. How about you make a saving throw? Let's see here. What saving throw would that be? That's the character sheet.
All of us?
Just roll me. What's that?
All of us?
Yeah. Why don't you make a saving throw versus breath attacks? As this yellow light is, it seems like it's like gaining in intensity.
I have a quick mechanical question.
Sure.
There's attributes next to the saves. Do we add our modifier?
They're already included in. So,
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you have
And so
the
I'll
pre-generated character. So you're pretty good. So you want to roll that number or over with a d20?
Over which save was it?
Breath attacks,
Breath
sort of like
attack.
area effects. Yeah.
All right,
Oh, I
I
rolled a
rolled
natural
my
one.
number.
A natural one.
Yeah.
And what'd you get, Tony?
I rolled a 13, and my save is a 13.
I did
cool.
too. I got exactly that as well.
Okay, so the beastmen sort of lunge down, hide behind the garbage maybe, just get out of the light. But the hovering squid is just floating several feet above the garbage. There's this strange sensation along your tentacles. It's really on your extremities, and bits of flesh start to just sort of turn into ashes and just sprinkle. And it's almost like if you're in a dusty room and you move something really quickly, all this flesh is just sort of floating and hovering around you. Let's see here. Let you roll. Take 7 damage as bits of you are just starting to fly off.
Okay, that would be my entire form. So it's like, so I have 6 hit points, so I'm assuming that I just disintegrate.
Oh, well, hold on. There's actually a table there.
Oh, okay.
I think that's at the end of the PDF. Jesus. This is where I need to know this game a little bit better. I think it's 47. Yeah, there's the chart there. I think it's a D20 chart. Let's see. But yeah, the light is very intense. It's you see your friend there. He's not doing very well. Bits of his flesh are floating all around him. I can't find the table. I thought there was an overkill table, right? Okay, why don't you roll 2d10? I think that's what it is. Critical hit table. Overkill table.
I rolled a 4 and a 7.
Yeah, overkill is on PDF page 32, printed page 30.
Okay. I think it's... Yeah, I should actually know how that works. All right, so we'll just say for now, the hovering squid has fallen down to the ground. He's twitching. There's a raspy breath coming out of his mouth. And lots, like severe sections of his body have fallen off or flaking off. It seems like this is like an ongoing process. But yeah, so there's like a raspy sort of like hideous sound coming out of his throat.
That isn't good, man. And
Eliminate targets.
he'll lean over to the side against the peeking outwards, seeing this bright blinding light. And he'll fire shots into that thing, or at least try to.
Okay. Yeah, give me a couple attacks. Like I said, armor class 6 is what they are.
Gotcha.
Tell me if you are successful or not.
The bolt pistol has 3 shots.
Yep, go to town.
Alright, that's 1 success. That one's not. And that one isn't. So I got 1 success. And the damage on that is a d6. That gives me 4.
Okay.
So he'll like lean over and he'll be like, "There, have hot bolt pistol." And like those, someone will just whiz past him, and then one of them just.
Okay. This one sort of blasts into like one of the arm sections, and it spins him, and all the slime sort of sprays out in this arc as he sort of spins around and lands face down into the garbage. His helmet cracks, and more of this liquid kind of sputters and sprays out, sort of digesting the junk around him. One of the lights starts to spin around, and this one is almost like a reddish purple, and it actually starts to just slice through sections of the garbage piles, and it seems like it evaporates everything that it touches. It's nowhere near you guys at the moment, but it's very destructive. You're glad that it isn't shooting your way. But it's just sort of spinning around and just destroying things in this like arc through that pile of garbage, this pile of garbage. And it's almost like the garbage piles are starting to just get lower because the material at their foundation is being destroyed. So
Rabbit is gonna kind of slide down the pile of garbage towards Clapface's body. Pulling out, I don't know how medkits manifest in this.
You can describe them any way you want to. With that.
All right, so he pulling out of his medkit one of the hypodermic or syringes, and when he gets down to Clapface, he just jams it into the first part of him he can see and hits the plunger.
Okay, we'll say that's to his back. We'll say he was face down, breathing heavily, and you jammed it into his back.
Okay, those are D8.
You'll see these like tendrils of something sort of traveling through his skin, like 8 of them, and they're just sort of like worms, just sort of squiggling and writhing underneath the skin. They seem to be repairing bits of it as they go. You'll see their tips come out and sort of just like this weird liquid stuff sort of sprays out of the top of them and seals up whatever wounds they touch. How much did you say it fixed?
I rolled a 7 on a D8.
Okay. So Clapface feels this really almost painful sensation of these things traveling through his body, and then that sensation seems to just go away slowly. They just seem to stop their movement. Whatever they're doing, they just cease. And that raspy sound in your breath goes away. And you're laying in the refuse there.
Okay, so I'm sitting there. My eye just starts twitching to the side as all this is happening. And it says, "Targets must be eliminated." And I'm groping all over the ground for my pistols. I can't find them, so I pull out my chainsword and start floating up to the ceiling.
Okay.
Keep lower this time. Lower.
All right, how about you roll a d6 again? Somebody on your side?
I rolled a 4.
Oh. I rolled another 6. Well, the last one, who's not really paying attention, he seems like he's very focused on the task at hand. Literally, he has a hand in front of him, we'll say a glove, and it's sort of filled with this like milky, fleshy stuff, and he spins off the helmet, dumps it in, and you hear like a just burning, sizzling sort of sound, and that the head clasps back and spins around it. That laser light just seems to be missing this third one by mere like feet, and he doesn't even seem to pay attention. He seems to be very oblivious to what's happening around him.
With that in mind, Slug will shout down at Rabbit. Be careful! It appears that we're dealing with perhaps, and he's like looking around frantically, and he goes, biomechanical creations?
Toads, every last one, as he leaps up and opens fire, directed towards the uninjured one.
Okay, same thing, AC. Armor class 6.
One will hit on a 19.
Okay.
4 damage.
All right. You seem to crack down into the top there. You'll see the flesh that was being digested actually seems to take some of the brunt of the shot. And now it seems that the head and the lights are spinning around. It seems to have finally noticed what's happening. One of the red lights starts to just sort of travel up the pile of garbage to where your location is. But okay, how about the squid? You said you're going to get your chain sword out, I believe.
Yeah, he floated up, so he was on top the mounds, and he could see this thing, and he just soars down straight at him with his chainsword revving right in front of him.
Okay, make an attack.
That is a 13.
Let's see here.
And it does 6 points of damage.
That's 6. Okay. All right. So describe how the chainsword cuts into this this suit filled with bubbling acid.
So he okay. So he flies straight towards it like a charge, and as he comes towards it, he actually maneuvers to the side, and his chainsword just goes ripping through it. And you hear this metallic against metallic sound. It's like it just saws through the side of this creature and just almost completely cuts it in half.
Okay. You'll see the dripping acid sort of flying off the end of the sword, sort of spraying up in front of you on the piles around you. The light, it sort of spins around, and there's this red light that's sort of focused on your chest, but it sort of flashes, has like an intense sort of light, and then just vanishes completely. The suit starts to quiver and shake. The hands fly off and starts just going up and down and splashing things around it. But with your ability to hover away, I'm sure you can just get out of harm's way. The laser light on the other one, though, is still spinning around. Let's see here. So how about everybody roll me a d6 modified by your dexterity. If you have like a +2, that'll affect the d6. So it's a 1 on a d6 unless you have a dexterity bonus.
Failed with a 3.
Failed with a 6.
4.
All right. So this light is just slashing around, just going and spinning in motion. It sort of like grazes you as it goes around the last time. Let's see here. It only does 1, so it singes your suit. Maybe a weapon you're holding, an appendage that's hanging out. But it's it seems like as the body twitches in different directions, the arc of the laser is changing. So it seems like it's a very dangerous area to be in currently.
Eliminate target. Eliminate target.
And with that in mind, Slug will point his pistol and begin firing.
Okay. No need to roll. As long as you fire at him, he's not moving. You fire down into the twitching suit. The laser light starts to lose power, and then there's no power. The head's just spinning by itself, and then the laser, it just all ceases to move. It's laying as another pile of perhaps organic and inorganic matter in this strange repository of junk.
Ah, yes, and as he fires the bolts, they just go through, and you see like a mixture of spark and acid. And afterwards, he'll peek down and he'll say, "Target eliminated."
Commence salvaging.
How
As
about
you
we commence analysis?
Salvage. Allow them to analyze once we are extracted.
You'll see an emblem that says Reclamation Corporation on the bottoms of the boots, on the side of the helmet itself. It seems like this might be a rival company that's come here to get some salvage.
We should receive bonus for this.
Yeah, I grabbed the boots.
Yeah, he'll walk over and he'll grabbing probably like a long pole from one of the junk piles. He'll begin poking at the suit from the inside, seeing the acid in there as the metal clings into it. You can still hear it burn, but he'll be looking inside. Maybe like little lights will flash open around his suit, and he'll begin peering inside of it.
You'll see this very small robotic sort of form that's within this capsule that was floating in the liquid. It has little sensors, two little green sensors that it's not really, it doesn't have a face, but like more out of the chest. And there's little controls in there. It seems like it was perhaps controlling the suit. You're not sure, but the little eyes sort of point up and get dispersed by the outside of the container that they're in. But it looks like it's looking at you, if you had to guess.
He'll take the pole and kind of poke at it.
Hostage.
Fascinating device. It seems like it's a biomechanical device after all. Fascinating.
You see little arms moving, trying to hit little levers and push little buttons within the little capsule. It almost looks like an egg made out of like some sort of resilient plastic. But anything it's touching seems to not be working. You'll see the little lights go out, all the buttons stop flashing, and it's sort of sitting in this dead little plastic container that you're holding in your hoof-like hands.
Eat it.
He'll turn and look at you, and he'll be like,
I have more dignity and taste than that.
and he'll rip out a piece of paper and begin chewing on it like jerky.
I'm a refined beast, man.
I go over to the one that I sawed in half, and I start trying to open it up, see if there's another one inside of there.
Yeah, as long as you watch out for the acidic liquid that's kind of coating the inside of the suit. But yeah, there's another one in there. This one has lights that are still on. It seems like it's pushing buttons frantically. You hear some sort of voice or sound emanation, but it doesn't really seem to travel past the outside of that plastic shell too much. You just barely hear something inside of it.
So I reach in with one of my tentacles and I pull it out, and I'm just holding it in front of me, and then I just start smashing it on the ground.
You'll see the shell crack and shatter into like 1,000 pieces. They all break in these like really thin sections that curve, almost like if you cut your fingernails. It's kind of what it looks like. There's real thin curved sections. It just shatters everywhere. The little robotic thing inside for a free brief moments is flailing its arms, and then those get smashed and just crumpled into this useless piece of garbage like everything else around you.
Oh, what a waste of technology.
Eliminated.
He'll take what he has of his, and he'll just like stuff it in a pack, obscuring it from
You'll feel it
Clapface's
moving
path.
in your hands a little bit, like it's sort of like thrashing around inside the container as you shove it away.
I think the acid would be used to analyze whatever materials it absorbed within it. Maybe it's sending feedback to her controllers. Yes.
Was the acid all in the suits?
Yeah, the
Like all
suits
four?
are basically just filled up from boot to the arms. As they were dying, their hands flew off, and it seemed like they could remove hands and put things within the suit that way as well as putting it in through the top. But yeah, they were basically just suits filled with acidic liquid and these egg-like plastic containers floating within that seemed to be resistant to the acid that was in there.
Is there any way I could like hold up the pants and like tie off the top and have a sack of this acid goo?
Yep. So you got some suit pants filled full of liquid, probably the one that was cut in half by the hovering squid.
This may prove useful or delicious.
Indeed.
Interesting how non-organic organisms were able to be transplanted into this location. Curious as to how they were to be retrieved.
Perhaps they had some sort of system for applying biological material upon them, yes?
As you look through the piles and things, you can actually see where their footfalls came from, and they sort of head off in the distance, almost as if someone had walked through sand. Especially in some of the smaller pieces of junk, their impressions of their feet are easier to see, but they sort of head off into the distance.
I go back and pick up my pistols now that I actually have time to look for them, and holster my chain sword.
Perhaps.
Rabbit will pop his clip and just check it and put it back in.
Okay. Make sure you guys are keeping track of ammo too.
Yes.
Try to do that. The sun comes out from behind the clouds and just illuminates everything in this like glittering, dazzling, reflections of all these little pieces of metal and glass. It's very bright. Almost like if you're out in the middle of an ice field or something. Just everything is reflecting. Some of it starts to maybe get a little hot to the touch. You're guessing, but it's actually pretty amazing to behold.
Are we inside of a structure?
No, you're on some sort of surface of a planet, you would have to say.
Okay, so we're just out in the open.
Celestial, the star that's in the sky. The sun.
So I go back to the group. We should investigate the direction from which they came.
I agree. Let us go.
Rabbit just starts hopping off in that direction.
Okay. So you're hopping along, and again you see these. It's almost like these bodies, these suits have pulled out these hidden, bodies in the various piles of junk. They seem like they have extracted most of the organic matter. So you'll see suits, you'll see outfits, pieces of technology. You'll see a couple las guns here and there. You'll see like 3 las guns. You'll see 2 clips per las gun. They didn't even really pay attention to that at all. And a lot of things like boots and helmets, oxygen masks, that sort of thing. They're just littered along these bodies, but they seem to just taken the flesh and left everything else. It seemed like they were mostly interested in the organic material.
Either of you guys could use these. He's like holding up the 2 las guns they found.
I can use clips.
He tosses one to you. He'll take the other 2 clips as long as Slug doesn't say he needs them.
Slug will kind of just look at you a bit, and he'll nod and say, I'm fine for now.
Alright, so he just drops the clips and tosses them into his backpack, and then stomps on the gun to try to disable it.
You hear some sound off to the right coming out of one of the piles. You don't see any movement, but it sounds like almost like whimpering, moaning.
Can I try to sneak up to it, or up to where I hear the noise?
Well, if you try to sneak up, it makes a lot of clanking, and like the metal that you're walking on, it seems to make you're doing it, trying to do it quietly.
It's just of no use. Yeah, so I'll be cautious with the auto gun. Just leading away.
What's that, Tim?
I was just going to say, we should proceed with caution, and I hold both my pistols forward and fly straight towards it.
He does so very quietly. You get right up to the pile, and you'll hear that moaning. It sounds like it's produced, the vibrations are produced by some sort of humanoid throat, you're guessing, but it's within the pile. You'll see the color of the trash here seems to be brighter. The paint isn't faded. It looks like this has been a recent dump.
I wait for the other 2 to get up to where I'm at.
You'll hear some strange music coming from the pile. It's just real soft. just playing very, very subtly in the background.
Must investigate. I holster one of my pistols, and with my tentacles, I start scrounging through the debris.
I'll cover him.
As you do so, like a pile of garbage is falling to your left, to your right. The sound starts to get a little bit louder. It's a very sort of pleasant tone. Just plays subtly, And as you're doing this, you'll see a hand, and as soon as the hand feels air, it just starts to move.
As soon as I see the hand, I wrap a tentacle around it and start pulling it out by just flying up and away.
Slug will get up onto the top and begin like shoveling bits of debris out of the way to make it easier.
Okay. You start to expose the skin. It looks very much like the squid did. It's missing patches. You see the bone in various places. Just raw, aggravated, just meat. Parts of it sort of just fall off as you pull them out of the pile. There's jagged pieces of glass and metal just stuck all through the arm. And as you pull it out, it's mostly like a torso. The head is sort of leaning over at a very horrible angle. You can hear the bones grinding against the bones in the neck. It sort of just hangs there, and there's this face. Ah! It screams as you drag him out of the pile. There's blood. Looks like it's been in puddles and the various metal pieces around him. It's sort of coagulated, so as the pieces of metal are just stuck to his torso. There's right below the knees. There's nothing there. It's just this big sloughing kind of just sort of plops on the ground in front of you, and he
Desist with your auditory emanations.
Help. Company. You're from the company. Come on, help. He holds up his arm, and it's all just bits of metal are falling out of it. And, help. It hurts.
He gets a med kit right to the neck.
You'll see this little worm thing starts to crawl through his face and down his arms and legs. And while they don't replace the missing chunks of skin and muscle or bone, they sort of seal up those areas to a certain extent. He starts picking pieces of metal out of his face. He just sort of lays down there with his one arm, the other one's just like a stub, and he's just looking up at the clouds. And, so better, so much better. Thank you.
Cease with your auditory emanations.
What? What are you Okay. Whew.
And Slug will get close up to his face and, to where he can see his own reflection in his purple shades, and he'll go, "So, what has become of you? How did you end up in this situation?"
I was sent out apparently like you were. The rest they're just gone. I don't even know where they are. They took them. They started to dice them up like beef. They were just plunging it inside of themselves. Just the sounds they were making. They did so while they were alive. They thought I was done for. I don't know. I crawled away while they were cutting apart the others, and I tried to hide, and then out of the sky, this pile of garbage literally just fell on me. I don't know where it came from. I've been stuck here for at least a week.
What was the quantity of your adversaries?
There were at least 10 of them. I came with a pretty big faction of employees. I guess the company kind of knew we were in for. They gave us warnings, but those warnings just didn't help. We just came right into an ambush. It's almost like they knew we were coming.
I begin to check out his clothing. What's his company?
Well, he's Transdimensional Salvage as well. It seems like he's
Okay.
from the same company you are. He has the logo. It's sort of torn apart on his right sleeve that ends, in a stub. But yeah, he seems to calm down now. He's starting to breathe normally. He's not making any more audible emanations.
When he mentions that he thinks that it was as if they were waiting for him, Rabbit will start looking around, searching the sky, searching the other piles of trash for any signs of movement.
As you look in the distance, there is this strange oblong oval thing in the sky. At this point, it seems like it's pretty far away, but it's almost like a pebble. Is like as you're looking, it's like a little black dot almost in the sky. But that's really the only thing you notice.
So I pull out my pict recorder that I had from last time, and I start taking pictures of it. So, this device was seen at our last destination point.
Was
Right.
it now? And he'll bust out his binoculars at this point, and he'll begin to zoom in on it. And each time he does, inside there's like the digital frame, and so like if we had like the camera looking, it goes like he'll have that little section of getting closer and closer with that high definition from that good old tech.
You'll see this just oblong shape. It's sort of pointed in the front. It's very smooth. You don't see any windows or indentations at all. It's really a very smooth, elegant-looking structure. You don't see any forms of propulsion or anything. It's just sort of hovering in the sky there. It doesn't seem like it's moving. Your range finder on your binoculars there reports that it's not getting farther away or closer. But you see that it starts to turn, and that sharp pointed front, you're assuming, maybe, is pointed in your direction.
I think whatever it is, it has noticed us. Ugh. And he begins backing up a little bit as he takes the binoculars off and stashes them away.
What was the name of the other company on the three that we eliminated?
Reclamation Corporation.
If RecCorp has found some sort of technology such as this, we must take it.
How do you suppose we do that? It's so high.
Shoot it from the sky.
None of our ammunition will reach that high. We'll need some sort of cannon to make that work. Unless there's some in these junk piles. He begins looking around.
You do see some parts of various discarded tubular shapes. Might have been pipes or something, but that's the closest that you see. Closest looking thing to a cannon.
How far off were the remains of those three Reclamation Corporation droids?
They're probably about 20 feet away at this point, but you'll still see their trail in the valleys between the piles of garbage. That's where you were going when you stumbled upon this guy. You'll notice that in his hand he has this little music box, and that's what's playing the sound as you're standing around him. And you notice just every once in a while he'll just bend down and he spins it with his hand. He sort of just like presses it up against himself and spins it around, and he's sort of just like staring up at the clouds now and listening to it.
What is this? He points to the box.
It's my daughter's. I I listen to it when I'm away from them. And he spins it again.
With almost as much disdain as he can from a squid-like face, he just rolls his eyes around, and then he just turns around and starts heading back towards the remains of those 3 Reclamation Corporation droids, and he starts trying to pry off the insignias on them.
Okay.
We should receive bounties for each of these that we eliminated.
Well, I have this, and he holds up like the pants and boot that's all filled with goo.
Slug nods, but he looks down at the poor man, and he pulls out this little notepad and begins reading to him. Ahem. Transdimensional Corporation, Serial Code 57258. In the event that an employee is found and is severely wounded, it is also initiated that they are not responsible for any corporational damage to be done. Sorry, we have to say that every time. It was at the last meeting. He stashes it away.
Agreed. We are not responsible for your safety.
Wait, you're not gonna leave me here, are you? Come on, man. I'll crawl behind you. And he sort of pathetically tries to crawl with one arm. And his little leg stubs are moving garbage behind him as he's trying to keep up with you.
He'll take his hand and like put it up against him to stop him, and he'll kneel down. We weren't going to. Well, I wasn't going to abandon you. I was just telling you that they won't charge you, or they're not liable for supplying you with money.
That's fine. Just get me out of here. I don't know.
We do not have enough biomass for 4 extractions.
Perhaps we can acquire some.
Wait, you're not gonna put me in the grinder, are you? No, you stay away from me, man. You stay away from me. He starts like sliding back, trying to crawl into one of the piles. He leaves his music box behind him.
Where is this grinder?
Well, as standard issue, you all have organic processors that basically take organic matter and grind them up. And they have a spraying hose to cover whatever sort of salvage you're going to bring back through the transdimensional meditation.
We're not going to grind the parts of you you're still using.
Okay. Well, all right. That's good. Just, I think my legs are still in the pile.
Can you carry him, Slug?
Affirmative. I'll do that. Also, there were some organic parts that way where we entered. We could use those. And he like reaches down and like picks up the guy and just kind of hoists him over his back.
Well, I've got a couple 100 feet of Nilex rope, so I figured I could rope up some kind of man rider type situation for him.
Okay.
Master Blaster.
That pebble, that dot in the sky, seems like it has now gotten closer. It's about half the distance that it was. It's much larger now. It's taking up a good percentage of the sky. It must be just a very massive sort of craft.
We should probably seek cover.
Affirmative. And he just begins like clopping along, running.
Are you following along the trail that you were following?
Yeah, and he's gonna like if it seems like it's getting like it's gonna like gain on them too much, he's gonna like hide behind a pile.
Okay. It's traveling quickly, but it seems like you still have some time. It's just making progress towards you.
What is your name, Half-Man?
I'm sorry, say that again, Tony?
I said, what is your name, Half-Man? To the guy we found.
Mike. Name's Mike.
Can you shoot, Mike? And I hold out my las gun towards him.
His one good hand, he reaches out and grabs a hold of it. I always did like the weight of these things. Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah. He sort of rested on the shoulder there, and yeah, I'm good.
He's got
As
that
long as
with
you get me
a
out of here, I'll kill whatever comes in our way.
full clip.
Reaching into his notepad, he'll pull it out again, and he'll begin reading it and going, Rescue Manual 407 states, it is a good idea to communicate with victim. And he just looks at you, Rabbit, with nodding approval.
So as you're traveling along, you'll see this sort of like husk. It's like this like skin-like tubular just mess that's on the ground there. It almost looks like you can see the footprints lead right up to it. It's very thin. It looks like it's been slashed. There's like these like 6 long slash marks down the side of it, like towards like one of the bases of this tubular structure. It actually looks like they cut themselves out, so you can kind of see that. But that slash mark, it almost looks like something just attacked it. You're not really sure what that is, or it sort of has like a singed sort of look to it.
Is it organic?
So, yeah, the structure itself is organic. Yeah. You're guessing maybe this is how they got there?
Interesting biotechnology.
I open the top of the pants and drip a little goo on it and see what happens.
It starts to digest it, just eat right through it. And
It
you actually
appears organic.
you see the rest of it quiver whenever you do that. Sort of just little ripples of movement along the whole thing.
Slug will begin to look at it and like grab his shades a bit and kind of adjust them as that's happening, and he'll go, Fascinating. It appears that it is, hopefully, alive. And poke at it a little bit with his finger.
I'm sorry, I missed him. Did you say it was similar in shape to the thing that was flying?
No, it's like picture sort of like a wide hot dog, except it has like veins, and it just has like a skin-like appearance. Like I said, there's those slash marks on the one side, and there's like this cut area where you're guessing they probably crawled out of it, because you see their foot marks in the trash right in front of that area right there. As you sort of look around, it actually looks like there's a head, some gruesome-looking stretched face on the inside of it.
RecCorp has developed some new technology for transplanting teams into locations. Perhaps this is how they retrieve them as well. I say we destroy it.
Wait, let us collect a few samples first so that we can analyze it.
Are you ready for extraction?
No.
Extraction is coming soon. Yeah, this voice comes out of the inside of the tube.
So it has a face on the front. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Inside the giant, fleshy sort of hot dog exterior is kind of what it looks like, with veins and things all through it. That face, it's like stretched, and on the inside is extraction coming soon.
It has seen us. We must eliminate it.
Wait, let us talk first. Then you can kill it.
And he'll walk up and go, still like adjusting his shades.
Explain your designation.
I am from that 342. Time is soon to depart. Seal yourself within inside the skin and you will be fine. This has been a helpful message from Reclamation Corporation.
I think we found all the biomatter we need to bring anything we find here home.
Crawl inside me for safe removal.
Now we should kill it.
I get out like the grinder And the hose, yes, let's grind it.
Oh, wait! Let me see what's on the inside first. And he'll crawl up to it and he'll begin taking like a knife and begin kind of making small incisions.
Ah! Ah! What are you doing? No! 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 No!
Take its
Wait a
head.
minute. You are not. Oh. Oh. You actually see the face, like, kind of, seem like it's trying to slide back into the skin. Just like.
As soon as it does that, I pull out my chainsword and start cutting off where its head is at.
The head sort of gets cut out of the enfolding skin capsule it's trying to slide it back into. You cut out around it. It sort of just spins on the ground, and it sort of like rolls out like a parchment, like the face, and just sort of flaps. It's twitching, its eyes are moving.
That was an expert cut! And he begins to turn it over. It appears that you have missed several of the vital organs. Look, this appears to be some form of brain matter.
Yes, we will take that back. Technicians can scan brain cell matter for any information to collect. Gain vital intel on RecCorp.
Vital intel indeed. And he'll like wrap it up.
That shape in the sky now is casting a small shadow. It's still, it's probably like a fourth of the way, from where it started. Like, well, I guess 3/4. But it's blocking out the sun now.
If RecCorp, this cannot be from RecCorp. They would not have this extraction tube and that device. This is some other source.
Slug will begin to walk out, still hiding behind any piles that are there and just kind of glancing upwards.
I don't know what that is, man. What is that thing? He holds up, like, pointing the gun.
No
Won't be too
idea.
long before. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He'll look at him and say, I have no idea, but whatever it is, we should most certainly find out and collect data.
I'm just chunking off pieces of that hot dog thing for the grinder.
Just this horrible, like, sound of, like, bone and just flesh just grinding together. It seemed like it has, like, this bone-like structure inside of it to keep its shape. But the grinder takes care of that. It's used to grinding up bones.
Looks like it'll be easy for you to come home, Mike.
Oh, just spray that stuff all over me, man. I'll go with you. I got your back, literally. I'm good, man. Thanks. I appreciate it. My daughter does, too.
So while he's doing this, I just have my pic recorder out, and I'm taking pictures of this thing in the sky from every possible angle that I can get.
You'll start to see just stuff falling from the bottom of it. Just lots of you're guessing it's refuse or something, but you'll start to hear the clanging of metal off in the far distance. It seems like it's dropping more garbage, perhaps.
How far off is it by now?
You're guessing probably like maybe 300 or 400 yards.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that is fascinating. Apparently we now found out where all these garbage heaps came from. I wonder what else is inside.
And then all of a sudden, it just vanishes completely. It's just no longer there. The sky is open, clouds, sunlight is filtering down. You have the glint off all the metal. It's very bright and shiny again.
He'll take off his shades and he'll kind of rub his bulging goat-like eyes a bit. Ugh. Did you see that? Or rather, didn't?
Yes. 300 or 400 yards, you say, away it was dropping?
Yeah, and then it just vanished.
We should go check out what its latest deposits are.
Certainly. And he just begins like clopping forward as they say at the same time.
All right, so you're traveling along. Are the rest of you following? I guess.
Yeah, I follow along, but I also fly up a little higher so I can try to see over the piles of garbage. I'm not going to fly up way over top, but just enough to see over them.
You see off to the right, so you're heading forward. You don't really have any sort of cardinal direction that you're aware of, but you see what looks like organic trees. It looks like there's like 4 of them growing in a small patch on the tops of one of the older piles. They have very like blue-greenish leaves to them, and they have these giant flowers that are orange and red, and they sort of hang down like the branches of a willow tree. So there's only like maybe like 4 flowers, but they're just massive things. That's other than that, it's just piles and piles of garbage as far as the eye can see.
Organic fauna in this direction.
It looks delicious.
I hope it's nutritious. And he begins like hopping over.
And it's probably, as you get closer, the trees themselves are only about 10 feet tall, but the trunk is sort of like 2 or 3 feet in diameter. It's very rough. It's the kind of exterior that, like, if you look at it long enough, it almost looks like there's like little faces here. Like, oh, I see the eyes there. I see, it's like looking at clouds. There seems like various forms can pop into your head as you're looking at the rough trunk texture.
I take out my picture recorder and I start taking pictures of all this surface. And I go up closer to the tree and examine it.
Okay. So as you go close, one of the flowers sort of spins your way, and these little spines fly out of the center of it in your direction. What is your armor class? We'll do it.
4.
All right. Out of the 4 spines, only one of them seems to latch into like one of your lower extremities. You can kind of feel it. It feels like it has like a barbed tip. There's this sudden little jolt of pain. You take 2 points of damage, and it seems to be just like vibrating.
Oh yeah, I reach over with one of my tentacles and try to take it out, pull it out.
Oh, it hurts. The barbs sort of catch and tear, but yeah, you remove it from your body, and it's just sort of like vibrating in your hand.
I put it in my backpack. I reach in with one of my tentacles and pull out a container and put it inside of it and seal it up inside.
Okay. It's vibrating with inside the container. It actually like makes the sound a little bit louder. It's just sort of rattling around in there. The rest of the flowers just sort of slowly like turn in your direction.
Okay, I try to fly out of their aim.
Okay.
Or float
How
out.
They don't seem to fire any more spines, but they are sort of, the flowers are pointed in the direction of you all.
How do they attach to the tree? Is it like a noticeable stalk?
Yeah, they sort of just come off of the branches, these flowers, but it almost has a fleshy sort of appearance to it.
I would whip the ooze pants at it. Try to separate the flower from the tree.
All right, so the ooze pants like sort of tumble and toss through the air, wrap around one of the limbs, and just burst. All this acid comes flying out of where the feet go. The feet sort of detach, and acid goes spraying everywhere. It melts entirely through one of the major branches of the tree, and it just sort of flops down on the ground. The flower itself seems to detach with the rough landing on the garbage. It tumbles down one of the piles. You'll see spines go flying out in various directions. as sort of like a last gasp of trying to find a target. The rest of the tree sort of the flowers will sort of hide behind the trunk.
Can I get to the flower that's fallen without exposing myself to the other ones too much?
Yeah, you hop over there and it's just laying on the ground. You see these like small indentations where the spines were attached within the center of the flower. But there's this very aromatic smell coming from them. It's very pungent yet sweet.
It smells delicious.
You hear from the distance, Slug shouting at you, Rabbit. Excellent work! You showed that one news, boss. This is like ducking out of like a junk pile and like looking.
When I see the other blooms hiding, I pull out my chainsword and I start approaching the trunk.
It's like in slow motion. Is your chainsword running, or is it just is it in the off mode at the current time?
Yeah, I'm revving it as I'm approaching the tree.
Yeah, they seem to just be hiding behind the trunk. Just sort of. You're not sure if you ever heard anybody describe a plant as cowering, but they seem to be cowering. The trunk itself is very immobile. You'll see the leaves on top, too, are sort of flapping down over top of the flowers.
Well, at this point, Slug is going to take his pick recorder out and begin like holding it up to his mouth and be like, "This is Slug. Stardate 457229. Observing new plant fauna, as it is now being currently." He peeks over the refuse. "Going to be chopped up. Interesting observation."
And the recording catches the sound as his chainsword just starts biting into the trunk of the tree.
In this last gasp effort, one of the flowers will poke out from around the trunk and shoot all 4 of its spines at you. Let's see what happens here. What was your armor class again?
4.
Ooh. All right. Looks like 2 managed to get you for a total of 4 damage as the spine, one shoots into your shoulder, one shoots into your leg. Like sort of as they shoot, the trunk of the tree sort of falls down off the side of the garbage and just slides down, tumbling over itself and just lands on the ground.
When those 4 impact into my side, I just fall onto the ground and start flopping around. My tentacles start writhing around.
Slug will appear outside of the junk heap, looking at him. Quickly, help him! And he'll like leap over and begin like running.
One of he looks like a squid shish kebab right now, as the spines have like pierced right through his shoulder and right through. I think it's like sort of like one of the thicker tentacles towards his base.
I eat a petal from the flower if that's on the ground.
It has a very like sort of crunchy with a soft center, so it's very crispy on the outside and sort of like mushy and soft. It's sweet and has like a tangy sort of flavor to it.
Foam starts frothing out of my mouth as my tentacles.
And the rabbit's sort of like munching on flowers.
Yeah, I'm just chewing on the petal. Like, this is delicious.
Slug will rush on over, and as he does, like he's avoiding the tentacles, and like hits him in the face, and like tries to knock it out of the way. And he'll kneel down, and he'll try to grab one of the barbs, and then pull it out the other way. That way, it's not ripping out anything.
And as soon as that happens, he'll take out the med kit and begin spraying along the inside. Hopefully this will help.
So Tim, what does your inside juices smell like as they pull out the spines and what color is the liquid on the spines?
Well, it's kind of a different color. It's like there's different fluids running through different directions, doing different things. So when it pulls out, it's like two different colors kind of mixed together. There's a dark purple and kind of a turquoise fluid that kind of flow out at the same time. They kind of swirl around like ink and mix together. It has a very acidic, pungent smell. Just like it sticks up into the nostrils, almost like bleach.
So in other words, he smells tasty.
Bleach smells tasty. Yes, that's tasty.
Has anyone ever told you you smell delicious? These are just ramming more flour down my throat.
There's like a growl that comes out of a slug's stomach. He like takes out a piece of paper and begins like chewing on it.
We should coat a tree in biomatter to retrieve its entirety.
I'll start spraying it down.
All right, chunks of bone and flesh come flying out of the top of the nozzle. All the various things that you ground up. It just covers it and it sort of congeals and forms this skin-like surface.
I stay on the ground for a little while.
You see the trunk of the tree, right where it was. It's sort of like oozing out this liquid. It's pulling up and running down the side of the hill of garbage that it was growing on top of.
Oh, how much hit points did I get back from the med kit?
Just roll that.
That's a 4. Yeah, 4.
Okay.
Some of the clouds in the sky now have covered the light of the sun, so it has all that glint and shine from all the garbage around you has now gone down. Yeah.
Oh,
the man that's on your back is just like, wow, that was a weird tree. I guess I should have shot at it, huh? Sorry, I should have shot at it.
It's all right, Mike. It says here in the manual that you might be in shock.
Wait, I might be. Wait, something's wrong with me? Well, that's pretty damn easy. Well, look at my legs, man.
He'll like pull out the manual again and begin reading it out almost robotically.
It is okay. You will be fine.
He just starts playing that little musical box over again and holding up to his ear.
So after a moment, I pick myself up off the ground and I start hovering. I just start going over to some of the refuse and the piles nearby and looking through it.
Clapface, you should be much more careful. You've nearly kicked the bucket twice.
We'll all die.
That's
I'm sorry.
Because that is a depressing outlook.
Every time at our extraction, I've been almost killed every time by some creature living in the void.
Oh, I forgot about that.
He begins like sitting there like stroking his goat beard.
As the hovering squid is floating around, he sees what looks like a glass sort of shape. It's conical and it's sort of jutting out on one of the piles by like 4 feet.
How big is it?
Well, you see 4 feet of it. You're not sure how much of it is sunk down into the pile it's sticking out of, but it just seems like it's made out of like this translucent glass. It looks like there's like some sort of wire in the center of it.
Just a little while longer, okay?
So it's 4 feet around.
Like it's 4 feet long. At the base, it's probably about 2 feet diameter, and it's a slender sort of cone that forms out of it. So it sticks about 4 feet out of this pile. Inside, you can see this like sort of bent wire that's in the center of it.
So I just come over to it and I wrap my tentacles around it as best as I can, and I start floating backwards, trying to pull it out.
Okay. You pull it out like another 3 feet, and then the weight of it is just too much. It just brings your body down with it. It sort of has this wide base, and it's round, but as it like jumps or falls down into the garbage, it just sinks in a little bit. So a lot of the weight is off of you, but it's like this. Again, just long, slender, has a wider base, and in the center is this wire. And at the very base, however, there looks like there's a skull, and it's wrapped in like this strange grayish flesh.
This is all inside of the tube or the
Yeah,
oval.
inside the glass. I don't know what word you would use to describe it. Cylindrical. With one end is smaller, the other end is wider.
So kind of like an egg shape.
Like a long.
A long egg.
Tubular
Those long eggs.
Lots of eggs here. But yeah, it looks like a human skull wrapped in gray flesh, encased in glass with a wire coming out of the center of its skull and going to the top of the glass, whatever it is.
So I look back at my group, I look back at the skull, I look back at the group, then I start floating around this thing. I'm just examining its entire surface.
As you look at it, the flesh around the skull seems to just give off these little emanations of light, and you start to feel that pulling sensation of basically almost ready to return to base.
Do we have
But
enough
it feels-
biomatter to coat this?
How are we doing on biomatter?
Your tank is about half full.
So we would like have enough maybe for the three of us to get home at this point, and not this thing or Mike.
You think you might be a little shy to get everybody home, including Mike and this thing.
Mike, can I examine that laser pistol for 1 second? I think there's another clip that will be more useful.
Oh yeah, sure. Hey, here you go. I'm really glad that you guys helped me out. I'm looking forward to like seeing my daughter. I can't tell you how grateful I am that you guys are going to help me out.
Slug, can you find the appropriate page in the manual? I start firing up the grinder.
What page are you looking for?
The sorry, Mike, you're not going home page.
What are you talking about? Not on my back! Not on my back!
As Mike's flesh starts to get chopped up in the processor, you hear the crack of bones, and it sputters out little bits of flesh all over the junk around it. But yes, Mike has now been turned into organic matter that will cover whatever you like.
The person light bulb I'll start spraying that down.
So you start spraying down the skull and the wire, and it's a pretty large piece of technology or equipment. You're not really sure, but so you spray it down, and you start spraying your fellow associates. So everybody's pretty much covered in flesh, and you feel that tug again, that lurching sensation, as if everything is about ready to just take you back to where you came from.
So
I
just pull out weapons, and I'm just looking around ready. I'm prepared for being attacked.
Okay. Well, anything that you grab has already been covered in flesh, so you're sort of like encapsulated in this like thick skin. But you'll see you'll see through your translucent skin like these bumps where the squid has guns inside of the skin, just ready to do something. So this time, as you're pulled, it has a different feeling to it than you're used to. It's very painful. It's almost as if someone is stabbing you, like in the spine, or in various places in your nervous system, all at the same time. It's sort of like a tug or a yank. It almost just feels like you're just torn, bit from bit in various places. You hear yourself screaming, and the pain is almost beyond what you can take. And then you just black out. You don't sense this traveling anymore. You start to slowly come back out of it. You're in the warehouse, and you see all of this like organic matter just sprayed up against the side of the walls of the warehouse. You see the boots or the very fancy shoes of the the employee that usually keeps track of things. You see his little handheld device stuck in one of the walls of the warehouse, and in the center, you're all laying around covered in flesh, but in the center, balanced on its most slenderest point, is that glass thing, and it's spinning, and the wire inside of it is just throwing off this orange hue that's just bathing all the walls and all this scene of carnage around you, and that's where you are.
So I'm on the ground at this point, still recovering from that horrible pain. And after I gather myself, I float up and just look around at everything around that's happened in this room. And I start thinking to myself, and I look at my group, perhaps we will not be paid for this extraction.
Slug will begin coming to, and as he does, he'll kind of be wrenching from the pain, and as he does, he'll kind of look behind him and go, "Oh, Mike, it looks like you're Mike, no!" Ah! And then he'll look at the bits of goo on himself and be like, and he'll glance up to see the spinning glass.
Yeah, so it's about 7 feet tall. At its very base, it's like the size of a fist, and it's just spinning in perfect balance and just throwing off this orange light everywhere. The flesh, that gray flesh that's wrapped around that human skull, at the top of it is just throwing off just like sparks. And in one of the doorways, a clone of the CEO walks in. He's looking down. He's not really paying attention, and then he looks up and, I think we're actually going to have to clean this place now. So what did you bring back? I see this looks very interesting. And he sort of steps over the shoes of his predecessor and sort of kicks them off to the side. Yes, what is there to report?
Without warning, we were attacked by RecCorp employees.
Oh yes, and we have some of them. And he'll pull out the capsule contraption.
Oh, very interesting. That will be. Oh, we will probably be able to learn some illegal trade secrets that way. I thank you. That will pay. Yes, you will get paid handsomely for that. And what is this? You know what? This reminds me of that. Is it a beacon? I think this is the. Yes, this is the ancient way of traveling. This is how we travel from place to place. I have never heard of anyone bringing a beacon back before. I believe by bringing that here, you have made that location impossible to get to. I don't know if that will be a dock and pay or a pay. Let me see here. You know what? I think this is. I'm not sure. I'll have to talk to the higher-ups. But let it be known that you're the first ones who ever brought one back before. They're usually very hard to find. They're usually in the areas where you travel to. Where did you find it?
It was in a pile of refuse. The entire planet was a pile of refuse.
Oh, that sounds very ripe for salvaging, but I guess we'll never be able to go back there.
It was already
How-
inhabited by many of RecCorp employees.
Just like the one you're holding there.
Hmm. He holds up the little plastic egg-like container and looks at the little thing, and he sort of shakes it. Yes, the technicians will have to look at this. And he sort of throws it over his shoulder, and it sort of clatters against one of the walls and sort of sinks into like the flesh of somebody that was there. Your last representative had some strange ideas about you wanting to have handshake, your tentacles. I don't know. He brought in a bunch of associates to welcome you back, and they're all over the walls now. So that'll be enough of that. No more positive reinforcement, I believe is the word he used. Now, see, that is a very outdated mode of thinking.
And
What's that? I'm sorry.
it said Rabbit squeezes like shaking a hand that's attached to nothing. Yes, job well done.
It smells very good. You know, the smell of the hand sort of drifts up into your nostrils as you're shaking it.
Oh, I gotta eat some of this.
But yes, let's see here. Oh, I've gotten word back. They're both excited and disappointed that you brought a beacon back. We might be able to research that further. Let's see here. Deduct that. Add that. Yes. Wholesale slaughter of welcoming party. That'll be a slight deduction in pay. But we don't have to pay them anymore, so that helps out on production. Let's see, carry the 4. It looks like all of you will be getting 500 credits for this mission. Congratulations. Yes, you're one of the most productive teams that the company has had in quite some time. I am very impressed, and so are my 2 previous predecessors.
Is this counting this organism that we have retained? Then I go over to the tree, the remnants of the tree.
Oh, I did not know about that. Yes, you need to speak up about anything that you find. Tree. Can you? Is it living? It looks like maybe we can transplant it, and let's see what my technicians can come up with. Yes. Make that add another 50. Yes, for tree-like matter.
Once again, we underwent trauma when we were being extracted.
That is likely. There will most likely be changes in your physical manifestations and mannerisms. That is, it's part of the business. I'm sorry to say. That's why you really don't hang out with the general populace, and you go back to your little, solitary confinement cells. But we try to make it very pleasant for you. If there's any music you like, or food, or decaying matter, we can have that thrown into a bucket and brought to your room. Whatever you wish. You are our most valuable employees this month. So yes, very important. I hope that you feel that the company supports you in all that you do. But thank you very much. And some of the doors open up and to this like long hallway with little doors that lead to your cells. I mean, rooms.
Slug will just hang his head down, and as he does, he'll be adjusting his purple shades, and he'll just go, "Right, back to the cells again." And he'll just shuffle with his hooves clacking.
As Rabbit leaves, he grabs like another huge chunk of like flesh and viscera and just likes to bring back with him.
All right, we're actually going to say that you guys all level up today. So you're going to go to second level. So you actually just roll the hit points this time. So roll the hit points, and I don't think anything really much changes. You get an additional skill pip to put in any of the skills you want. And basically look at the PDF, see if there's anything that changes for your class. I'm not really sure if anything changes from first to second, but yeah. You guys have any thoughts on the session before we wrap up? Something quick.
We found our adversaries.
One of the rival companies.
Yes. We still don't know what the floating thing is. We know it was dropping.
It's a garbage truck, right?
Yeah.
I pictured it as like an airplane dumping its.
We found like
thanks.
transdimensional garbage disposal.
I wanted to thank you, Anthony, or Tony. I keep on trying to call you Anthony. Thanks
Either
for
way,
playing.
it's cool.
It's cool to have another player. In case someone's sick or misses, it's nice to have some extra bodies to fill the seats, so that's cool.
Yeah, it was definitely fun, man. Thank you.
No problem. We try to play every week at the same time. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but yeah. All right, I guess we'll stop the broadcast, and I'll see everybody next week.
All right, thanks, Ben.